Uno, dos, tres, and we're live. All right. So, hi everyone. My name is Cesar or Caesar, whatever you want to pronounce, or what's easier for you.
Cesar.
Yeah, that's Diego. We have also Pedro and Joel. I don't. I,
Howdy.
I don't know what to call this. To call. I was about to say we have so and so on the line. I'm just used to that because of work. Because whatever we have work calls, we're like, yeah, we have so and so on the line. But yeah. Um, so one of the things we were talking about before we started recording is the name of this podcast that we've just started out of nowhere that we've been planning for like half a year and have never done until now.
For so long.
It's been a fucking year. Not even half a year. All right. So one of the suggested, you know what, Diego, just say the fucking name that you suggested.
Okay, so listen, I still stand by this. We were, uh, playing Friday the 13th together on PlayStation. We're laughing. We're having a great time. We're laughing so hard, and I run over my foot with my own chair, and I cut my toe open, and I'm bleeding everywhere. So I thought, hey, you know what? What would turn heads at like first glance? The Bloody Toe podcast. Why not?
I
You're
mean,
fucking funny.
Give me better suggestions. We better have something by the end of this. I swear to God.
listen.
So
Okay, so first runner-up right now is Bloody Toe. Anyone else have anything else they want to suggest?
bloody toe.
I'm down for it.
Well,
I'm down for it.
I'm also still down for the title of this being "Bitch is Better."
it's got to be a punchline. You got to figure out how to incorporate that punchline. Like, have you guys seen Dave Chappelle where he's like, and then I kicked her in the pussy, and he's explaining, yeah, he's explaining how like he's so good at like improv or comedy that he writes his jokes. He writes the punchlines before the joke. So he's like, I just randomly write them down and I pull them out of a fishbowl. And he did that, and one of the punchlines was, "And I kicked her in the pussy." You guys have to watch the whole the special to get the joke, but he does a really good job of incorporating that. He makes you forget about that, and then like 3 minutes later, he's like, "And I kicked her in the pussy."
So the second you said improv, now my head is going towards that skit in Family Guy, where Quagmire Joe and Peter make an improv group, and their group is called Room for Improvement. So that's my vote for right now. Let's do that.
Oh, you're horrible.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. The no, that sounds terrible, pitch. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Listen,
Um,
it's an idea, yeah.
let's call it. I don't know. It's gonna be a struggle, but Caesar was saying something earlier about how we should just go through this, and at the very end, whatever we come up with, or if we don't come up with anything, we'll just do it off the cuff.
Or to be fair, whoever's listening can also message one of us because obviously we're gonna send this out on some of our social medias possibly. Whoever wants to throw suggestions our way, you're more than welcome to.
You know what else we could do? And this is like in part of what you're just saying right now, Pedro. We can put this out, share this with family and friends. Maybe not family, mostly friends. And I mean, because let's be
Dox
Jeez.
honest,
himself.
let's be honest. And then just have them. Oh, what is that? And then have someone take something out of this abomination of a podcast, and figure out a name for it. And then we can just go back and rename it.
The vision.
The vision. So okay, so here's the other idea that we all had, and most of us have a special place in our hearts for us calling it the vision. Um, does
I
anyone
forgot.
does anyone want to start off like how this story began? Joel, do you want to start us off?
Well, to be frank, I don't remember how it really started.
I can do it if you want.
Okay. Do you want to set the scenes for us at least?
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've all known
Butt
each
ass
other.
naked in the locker room.
Stop it. Ladies and gentlemen, we've all known each other since high school, or actually since middle school, and for Caesar,
substance
and
gender.
Joel, and myself, Diego. We've known each other since elementary school. So in high school, we all joined a club, and it allowed us to compete against other schools um, at like a state level competition, and later on a national level competition. For the state level competition, we went and we're sitting through like a seminar in like this giant room,
No, wasn't
and
it regional or national? I mean,
right, whether it wasn't nationals, that I know that for sure. It was either state or regional, where we're competing for network design.
for the
And
for no for the vision. It was when we
yeah,
were in California.
was that nationals?
Yes,
Yeah,
that was
division. We were
nationals.
in Anaheim. We were in Anaheim.
Oh, okay. Then forgive me. We get to nationals in Anaheim, California, and there's a guest speaker, and he's going off. He starts going off about how he wrote this new book, and he was an F-16 pilot, and he was a best selling
Best-selling
author.
author.
And I mean, this guy was like hyping himself up, and so he keeps he keeps talking about the vision, the vision for the future, and how us, the group, by the way, was Future Business Leaders of America, FBLA. You've probably heard of it, probably not, whatever. And so this is this is one of those things where he is just going off about the vision for the future, the vision for us, and how we need to have the vision. And I shit you not, ladies and gentlemen, this is the entirety of his presentation.
It
And
was
so
it was a good
by the
30 minutes of him just going on about this vision.
maybe more. So by the end of it, literally, like I don't even remember what his point was, what his entire point was, but what we got from that was the vision. So it's just one of those inside jokes that I mean it has us dead to this day, and it's been what 3 years, close to four. So it's just one of those things where that would be a nice thing to name it. So that's an idea.
I do remember walking out of that, like, I don't even know what you would call it, conference,
It was the closing ceremony.
inspirational. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was a speech. That was, I don't know if that speech was like meant to hype us up, or like, I don't know. I felt pretty weird. I do remember we were just clowning on that. We took nothing like good out of that speech or whatever it was, but we were just clowning on that guy. On that guy.
Yeah, he probably got paid a lot of money to show up, and I mean, he certainly tried to send us a message, and he certainly tried to put something in our brains as young adults that were there for a, I mean, quote unquote prestigious competition, and to come out of that just laughing our asses off and just repeating the vision over and over again, he probably didn't do his job very well.
to be
Either that, or we're just, something was wrong with us.
No, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like he probably went up on that stage thinking to himself, "Gee whiz, I'm going to inspire thousands and thousands of kids to do better in their lives, to seek out a goal and a dream." But yet, four dumbasses made a podcast and are laughing about him repeating the vision for about an hour straight.
And this guy was a good man. I don't even remember his name, but I know that he went off and like did like social work for like a third world country. He did good things, and to come out of that, it's just it's hilarious.
And then one of the things, I think the only thing we took out of that was the vision, and then the whole in our group chat, the individual names. Someone was the best-selling author. I think that was Joel, and then F-16 pilot, and then what was the other one? I swear, F-16 pilot, best-selling author. We just changed them. I can't even go look
I
at them.
know
What were they?
he.
Yeah, whatever it was, we managed to gather like his key points and like what he had done in his life, and so we figured we would name ourselves that because that was the only thing we took
Yeah,
from.
we mapped it to each other. Yeah, Joel, because he was actually a good writer. He knew what to write about. And then who was? I think
Diego was
Diego.
F-16 pilot.
What were you?
Oh, the 1%. Yeah, it
Oh,
was
the
like
one
the 1%
percent.
who
Yeah,
made it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I was just Cesar with the E, and the only reason I don't know, I was flirting with my current girlfriend, and I was trying to mess with her. You know, when you're flirting with people and you kind of just do the stupidest thing to get their attention. I told her that she
What do you
had
mean by
my
that? You punch her in the face or something?
no, like you know when you're a little kid, you just do some
And so
stuff.
I kicked her in the pussy.
What a callback!
That's the show, everybody.
See,
Thank
We're
you.
not
that's the
making
show. Thanks everyone for coming out.
Can you imagine going up on Spotify after this and someone reads kicking her in the pussy?
all
I'm
you
okay
need,
with
man.
it.
Yeah. So I told her, I'm like, hey, yeah, you, how do you spell my name? And she spelled my name correctly, but you know, just me being me. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not how you spell my name. And I literally changed my Instagram name. I changed my Facebook name with instead of CESAR, it's CESER. And I changed it everywhere, so she would check. I was like, "Yeah, go check my social medias." And she she saw that, and she was like, "No, I specifically remember it's with an A, not an E." And yeah, that's I think you guys were involved too because I told you guys. I'm like,
So
hey,
this
she asked you
was,
guys.
I don't remember.
This is
Uh,
well around a year ago.
Yeah, it was like a year ago.
I don't remember you telling me about this, but the way I found out about this was you and her and me and my girlfriend went to play mini golf in like a black light studio where you could wear like a light colored shirt and all the lights were off, but like super neon colors would stick out. And I remember when she was writing the names on the paper for like for our putts and whatnot, and to keep the score, your name was Caesar, CESER, and I'm like, do you not know how to spell your own boyfriend's name?
I
I
don't
was
know.
shocked.
Yeah, but that's one of the few things that I did. I was like, yeah, let's mess with her. Jesus Christ, that was perfect timing. The whole punchline
Freaking Joel, man.
came in clutch.
But even I still will never get over. I kind of want to tackle more on the guy, just because I don't know. It's constantly running in my head that he did his best. He was also one thing I also failed to mention that he helped a country out of poverty. Apparently, he spoke to a prince in Africa to to essentially be a better person or be a better financial leader. Apparently,
Yeah, and he met that prince through an email when he reached out saying all his funds were frozen and he needed he needed he needed some upfront cash to get his frozen assets unfrozen.
a long relative.
It's just the way it sounds very very shady.
No, yeah,
Uh,
100%, dude.
I miss being in Anaheim. I haven't. That was my first time being to Anaheim or California or Disneyland. Uh, I think we all went on that trip. Obviously, we all went to compete, but we were just excited to travel because
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
at the time we were just so young and we just wanted. It was my first time going to Disneyland. I think it was like Joel's third or second time, and Pedro, you did
My
you, was
first
it?
time, yeah.
Oh yeah, so it was that you and me definitely. It was our first time, even
Yeah, I,
traveling.
I I remember the first year, sorry, the beginning of our senior year. I remember our computer networking teacher, Mr. Sheldon. He was like, "Hey guys, so it looks like I convinced the FBLA teachers to have our classroom join, and it looks like you guys are going to be able to compete." And jokingly, I look over at Diego and I'm like, "Hey man, you want to go to Anaheim? We'll go to Disneyland." And then we laughed. It was never anything serious. It was like, and then I remember Mr. Sheldon kind of pushing us towards the end as we were supposed to submit the application
Oh
to
my
actually
god.
compete. He was like, "Hey Joel, do you want to compete? Hey Joel, do you guys want to compete?" And I remember him just pushing us and pushing us. It got to the point where we're like, like, what if something comes out of it? But it was just a blind shot for most of it. At the
Yeah.
end, we just wanted to go to Disneyland, but you know, we ended up going to the Polytechnic campus at ASU to compete, and then we did really well there for our first time. And then remember when we won a state we won second place, so that was like a thrill. And so when we were able to get to nationals, it was kind of like a it's like how you wait, yo, how did we do this? We were just
Yeah,
completely joking this entire time, and now we're actually here. It was kind of surreal in a way.
it was weird. Yeah, because like I remember what was regionals, right? It was regional, state, and nationals. I remember
Yeah,
at regionals, I was like, okay, cool, yay, we won. All right, we get to go to state. That's as far as we're gonna get. We get a
yeah.
state, we have a good time. Oh crap, we qualified. We go to nationals, and we're like, holy crap, we're actually going. And and even at nationals, we had that same mentality. Like, hey, we probably won't. We're gonna meet people that are totally like experts in whatever we're gonna compete in, was this network design. We're gonna meet people that are gonna abominish or destroy us in network design. But what place did we end up? Like, I think I was
We
proud of the place
No,
this
we
week.
were actually a pretty high place. So there were how many? It was the top three teams, right? For yeah. So if there's 50, there was
Oh,
150 teams, and it was like, wow, all right, this is a bigger pond than state. There was only like five people competing, and you have a lot better chances out of a pool of five than 150. And I remember when they had told us that only the top 15 groups would be elected to have them actually design the network for after the standardized test. And I remember staying, what was it? Like we woke up like at 4 in the morning to
It
see
was
the
4 in the
results.
morning. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude,
Yeah.
what
I remember we
we
were 18th. We were 18th place.
Wow. I actually never knew that.
Yeah.
yeah, we stayed up late that night. Like, I remember that the night we presented,
oh my, yeah. Sheldon kept us up for till like what 1 in the morning.
No,
the
he
night
didn't keep us up.
before.
I remember actually skipping to go to the baseball game so that we would study.
It
Yup.
was the beach. We didn't go to the beach because the night before we presented, the morning before, or sorry, the night before, we I think everyone wanted to go to the beach, and some of the instructors took some of the people, to
Yeah.
Huntington Beach.
hmm
We were the very few that stayed behind because
I
we
think we were
were
the only ones that stayed behind.
yeah, we were the only ones that
Mm-hmm.
stayed behind. We just wanted to get that study in because I couldn't believe that we got this far, and I was like, we made it this far, might as well give it our best shot.
Yeah.
So
It,
we stayed up all night,
And I
like,
remember agreeing that we were like, "Oh, Mr. Sheldon has supported us so much. We're like, it'd be really cool to win him some national credentials." So
yeah, because at this
we're
point, I
like,
feel
"Let's
like
do this for him."
everyone was operating like at 70%. So we all kind of like when imagine if we like operated at our full capacity.
hmm
So that's when we really kind of gave it our all.
at the end of
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
day, at the end of the day, I just wanted to give Sheldon my all because at the same time, you're right, Joel. He did so much for us, especially me. He actually paid for me to actually go to nationals, and I
I
thought that
remember
was
selling chocolates. That was so much fun. It
selling
was so
chocolates.
competitive. Oh my God,
Exactly, and the fact
it
that
was three
he helped.
hundred and $50.
Right, and then the fact that he helped me out in terms of all that, like I wanted to give him my all,
Yeah,
which is why I was more than fine to stay up till then to study. Especially it was me, Harvin, and Heber, and we put in a shift. We put in a shift, but at the end of the day, unfortunately, to this day, it still gets to me that we couldn't get Sheldon that dub.
yeah. No,
To
Yeah.
this
I mean,
day,
It's funny you
we
mentioned
we were
that.
his only ones to ever go to nationals.
hmm
Yeah, it haunts me to this day because Caesar mentioned just a second ago that we were all um like we were all at like around 70% of what we normally were. I remember specifically being at like 20%. I was so tired and so worn out. I was literally falling asleep trying to go through the rehearsal. If we even got called up to do the presentation for the design in the morning, and it was already super late, and my mind was like, and it's hard to even recall those moments now to this day because I just remember being so tired, and I was like, if I could have slept like like as soon as he told us we were done. And so I remember waking up with Joel the next morning, and then just asking him like, oh, did we get it? And him just being like, nah. And I'm like, oh well, shit. But I just, it's one of those things that I'm like, man, I do wish we could go back and even though we had fun and the memories are there from that, and they always will be, there's there's the fact that we didn't even place in the top 15. That like hurts a little bit because it's like, and the fact that we got so close, especially now knowing that we were 18th, like that, I never knew. So
Yeah, I
bizarre.
do remember getting a bit like, almost like, why did he even tell me that we were so close? Um, I got that feeling, it's like getting fourth place and like, yeah, only the top five, get to present it. Like, come on, or getting fifth place and only the top four. My bad.
Yeah, I was
Can
about to
present.
I was
Fucking
thinking
math, right?
you'd be in if that was user.
That's ideal.
Yeah, we were 18th. That bothered me so much.
Yeah,
It was kind
right.
of to the point where like it almost makes you think when you like the day after you take a loss, you kind of fail to realize what it was all for, and you're like, man, if I didn't win, it wasn't worth anything. You almost start thinking that way. But no, it was legitimately it was a lot of fun, and we even sacrificed some fun so we could earn some merit for our teacher.
Yeah. So I think it was a really good experience, and I think it says a lot that ever since, I think that was what, 2017,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and he's only taken, every year after we've left, he's taken a team. They have not gotten to nationals, I think, but the last 2 years he did take a team at nationals. I think, if I remember correctly, because I've been going after graduation, talk to the students, just because of he knows where I work and he would like, for me to speak there. But I think he's told me that at one point he's taken one team at least since we've left, to nationals.
Yeah. We also got to give another shout out to Eli, the computer guy. We're done without him.
Hold on, a
Oh,
very light shout out because as I know Joel and I know, Eli the computer guy kind of lost his mind at the very end. But go on.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
were you the one that told me that he started like doing some conspiracy theory videos or some bullshit like that?
Yes. So
No way.
and I
gross.
apologize, Joel, for jumping in, but I want people to know that Eli the computer guy. If you go to his like old and past videos and archives, great information and information that certainly helped us through our high school experience, our last 2 years, doing all of our computer stuff. I mean, if it weren't for that guy and what he knew and or sorry knows, we wouldn't have passed a lot of the stuff that we were doing.
No
However,
way. I
however,
type in Eli in Google and it's like Eli the computer guy conspiracy theories.
yes,
Wow.
like a year or two after all that, he just kind of went off the deep end and would live stream videos every day about the government and how it was all a sham. And I mean, I don't even know what most of it was, but it was definitely not his usual content. So, light shout out to Eli the computer guy.
Right.
I do remember us in the hotel room just binging his videos.
Yeah, I remember it was pivotal for me to bring the Chromecast or even my PlayStation so that we would stream his videos on YouTube. They were like 2 hours long, and we would just watch them, take notes off of it and everything.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that probably impacted me was the meeting we had the night before, when Sheldon brought us in and we were just he was just telling us, hey, no matter what happens tomorrow, I'm just proud of you
Oh my
guys. That
god.
was like, that really hit home. I was like, oh crap.
I knew it hit home for you because you told him something absolutely sweet that I still remember to this day.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, you must, but I don't.
you basically told him something along the lines of, thank you for taking me in because
Oh
it's
yeah,
true, you weren't supposed to be in our class.
yeah, and he does hold a very special place
You
in my
you
heart.
leached off of us, Caesar.
Yeah, man. I was in business and I didn't like it. I thought I would want to be a businessman and I just hated business. And I asked him for an opportunity to jump in. I knew nothing and he accepted. I don't think I would be at where I'm at right now. I don't want to say where I'm at, but I'm in a really good technology position. I don't think I would be at it if I didn't join this class.
I mean, we all definitely gained something from that class, you know. So yeah, I will always hold a place in my heart for Sheldon.
Peter's like, I tasted the most delicious ramen in this
I
class.
mean, I
Yeah.
I I didn't figure out And so after that entire experience that I didn't want to pursue something in technology, it was just it was too, I don't know. It didn't call me, and it no longer did. It was a hobby that I really enjoyed, but I felt that pursuing it and making it my career would ruin it for me. And it was something so treasured to me that I learned in high school, and I kind of always wanted to have that feeling towards it, something reminiscent of high school, and not be like, it's work.
Yeah,
So,
I
um,
can see. I can see where you're coming
yeah,
from.
so obviously over that summer, I mean, I'm gifted at in mathematics. I've never struggled with math, nor have I with any physical sciences. So I was like, you know what? I think engineering would suit me. And it kind of sucks that now I'm in there and not using anything that I really learned from Sheldon. But during the time that I started getting into college and university, he wrote me such amazing letters of recommendation. He even told me that he personally called with some of the committees to tell him how good of a student I was. And so, even though I didn't use anything that he gave me during this class, he vouched for me, and he has vouched for me many times. So
yeah.
very,
That's
very grateful to him.
He's just a really good guy, especially if he knows you're a good kid. Um,
Yeah.
well, the one thing that does kind of piss me off is that I asked him for a letter of recommendation, and he copied and pasted the exact same one that he gave you, and he gave it to me,
Oh
and
no!
I knew it because the first one he gave me was printed, and it had your name on there. Like, no,
Nice.
he replaced the first name, like dear. To who are concerns, whatever. Cesar is an amazing student, whatever. And then at the bottom it said, "Oh, yeah, Mr. Perez is an amazing like this and that." And he said Mr. Perez, and I'm like, this dude really just
Yeah.
He
copied and
knew
pasted.
he knew that he had hit the jackpot on Joel's letter. That he's like, you know what? I'm gonna save this and I'm gonna
That's
use this
true.
for every
It's
future
efficient,
recommendation
man.
letter.
That's a real engineer. He's like, I'm not gonna make this. I already had a solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Real
funny,
engineers are
like
lazy.
being on the flip side of what you're saying, Joel, where I also like joining tech, at that high school at our high school was just one of those things where I'm like, well, this is really the only thing that is best here when it comes to the electives, besides maybe the actual engineering elective or like automotive. But again, two things that for me personally was just not something that I was into. So I thought, oh, I'll get into network and all that stuff. And I'm at a different point now where like I tried going to college and I do plan to go back, but I still don't know what I want to do. And I certainly knew that it wasn't going to be more networking because at the end of the FBLA run, it was very apparent to me that I'm like, I don't know if this is something I should keep pursuing if I'm not really feeling it. And it's like to this day, I wish there was something that clicked for me. But even as I sit here today, it's just one of those things where I'm like, man, I respect it and I'm glad that I went through it all, but I didn't really retain much and it never really was motivating to keep going and like to really try hard to go down that path. So it's just one of those weird things where it's great. Like I love seeing, Caesar, you in your position with what you're doing now. Joel, like how you were able to learn from the networking and then move on into engineering because of what you gained from the networking class and going to compete. And I mean even Pedro, like you building your own PC and still keeping up with that world, whereas I'm over here like, man, I wish I could like do it all over and just have chosen something different or maybe just like applied myself a little bit harder because then I wouldn't be so confused and like so undecisive as to what I would want to do right now.
Yeah. You know, you know how you mentioned that our school had uh, those different career programs, and well, now essentially I'm on a totally different career path than from what I envisioned I'd have in high school. But granted that there's a an engineering program, I I don't regret not having gone through the engineering program.
Hashtag
First,
division.
yeah,
Division.
yeah. Obviously, all the memories and experience that I experience and share a lot of them with you guys. Some of them are exclusive, but for the most of those trips, we pretty much experience the same thing, and it's something I think that has bonded us for a little bit stronger than other friendships. So grateful for that. And but not even that. Like I said, all the memories that we uh, experienced here, I don't think I would have experienced had I chosen engineering in high school. It was just the engineering students always were a little bit, either they took it seriously or they were too carefree, and there was never that healthy balance of fun and actually doing the work. Whereas with us, we've always had that dynamic where it's like, okay, let's fuck around now, and then let's get down to it. So I think uh, computer networking has helped me as a person more than engineering would have. But I think having gone through engineering obviously would have prepared me more for my engineering career. So, but still, I wouldn't do it again. I wouldn't redo and pick engineering. I would go through exactly what we did.
Yeah, same here. So
100%.
yeah,
No, and for that's another thing that I always held so near and dear to my heart. It wasn't only that I learned a few things that helped me so much along the way when it came to technology, but the fact that I was able to just start off my morning with you guys, because you
Yeah,
guys were what woke me up. You guys had me laughing and cracking and dying and in the first part of school, and then the rest of my day was pretty easy peasy. So yeah, I've always appreciated you guys being the first things that I witnessed at Metro.
yeah. I
yeah,
took
yeah.
it like a job. Actually, you show up in the morning, you say hi to your friends, whatever. We had our daily tasks and stuff. Like we had a lot of freedom compared to a lot of other people that didn't really enjoy their classes. They are that class that's their CTE, their career technical classes. So I think that's one of the one things that I really enjoyed the environment. Like
Mhm,
coming back to what Joel said, we knew that balance, that work. I'm gonna use work life balance because
mhm.
that's what I use right now.
Hmm.
But that's essentially what it felt like. So I think that's what made it really good.
Yeah, Mr.
Yeah,
Sheldon
and
really taught us discipline and respect. And if we didn't have it, he would terrorize it over with Navi Sheldon.
Oh
When
yeah.
he would flip,
his alter
when he would
ego.
flip his.
Yo, you'd make me do so many push-ups if you heard this podcast.
Oh yeah, dude. Remember if we would I remember that. It's like if we ever slipped and said that word, thinking of that, how many push-ups would we have to do right now if he were to
Oh
get
my
us?
god. Just listening to the
He's
yesterday's
like, man,
podcast.
these motherfuckers didn't learn at all.
He's listening. He's listening to this right now, just making tallies. Like, oh, Pedro's got 40. Caesar's got 30. Oh, geez.
The
Yeah.
amount of
No,
times the amount
he's
of
such a good
times that
guy.
we yeah the amount of times that we had to like look over at him and hope that he didn't take damn as a bad word that day was way too many.
He'd be like on a good day, right? And he'd be like, he would have noticed it or he'd let it fly. But like,
No,
oh, if you caught him on a bad day,
he's so observant. Like for example, when we'd be setting up a server, but we'd be on YouTube instead or looking at memes. All the people who had glasses, he would look at the reflection in their glasses and he's like, "Yo, you're not doing your work. Just quit looking at memes." And he would make them do push-ups.
yeah.
I remember that.
The biggest like memory I have of him is when I think you were absent one of the last couple of days of our big project. We had to create a client server and pretty much present it like if it was a show and tell at work at a company. And the day before he came by and he's like, "Hey, did you guys finish?" And we're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Can you show me like a quick rundown?" And I went through it, and he knew automatically by looking at like all of our settings and our setup that it was wrong. I could tell in his eyes because he had a little smirk. And I looked at him and I looked at him for reassurance. I'm like, "Yeah, it's all good, right?" And he was like, we'll see." And he knew that like just right there that it was wrong, and he let us go up there, present in front of a lot of people, and he invited instructors and everything, and he just did it so we could learn and see what we would do when we experience like an issue
No,
live.
Caesar, but I remember. Look, I ain't trying to throw shade, but I remember being the what was it? There was the CEO, and I was like the vice CEO.
Yeah,
I was always the
Pro-
second man in charge. Oh yeah,
yeah,
assistant project manager.
yeah. There you go.
But to be fair, I think I was the project manager for both of them. I think the other two dudes, for the most part, were practically useless.
Hands
They'd
down.
always kind of they'd always report to me, and I'm like, whoa, wait, I'm your
Yeah,
assistant. What the fuck?
I remember who they were. Yeah,
Yeah,
And
so
props to you,
I
Joel. Just to cut in for real quick. Props to you for in the end helping them because like you said, you were the assistant. You were supposed to be the second in command. At the very end of it, you could have easily just said no. You're on top. You clearly think you know what you're doing, so do it. But props to you for not being that guy and for helping them get through it. But
yeah, I remember figuring out most of it, and having to pass it on, or even then like sharing ideas to make sure that things were getting done when they were supposed to. But yeah, I remember when it was the client server based network, and it wasn't the first one, it was the second one. We couldn't get it done because there was issues with Windows 2008 because our server, which would have been equivalent to the US server, we couldn't get it done. I remember spending at least 2 weeks, day after day after day, attempting to reinstall the Active Directories on it and constantly failing, constantly failing. I remember we only got one to actually
properly
uh,
map.
properly map the Active Directories. And we don't know how we did it because we were doing the exact same thing for each one. And it was just a matter of the computer wants to or it doesn't want to. And I remember uninstalling and reinstalling Windows on different hard drives, cloning hard drives. It was a mess. It was a mess.
now, just for the audience, just for the people that might be listening, hopefully listening, that don't really know what we're talking about. Are we talking about the project where we were making a network for a business, or the big presentation where we were presenting on like the certain states?
Yeah, it was like the big one where we had to talk about all the different countries and stuff like that.
Right. So yeah. So just for those who didn't know, I mean, with all the jargon that we've been spewing out, it was essentially just trying to present. We were split into groups, and we were trying to present different countries and like information on those countries. But it was very.
I remember the exact prompt.
Oh yeah.
It
If
was,
you want to take it away, go ahead.
yeah. I remember it was Mr. Sheldon came across and told us that it was a hypothetical that the U.S. Department of State wanted to be more diplomatic with all. I think it was like 5 countries. It was like Colombia, the United States,
Oh yeah,
India, Australia, and Japan. And he just wanted to be more diplomatic with all those countries. And so, in order to do that, we were to design websites that encompassed all the like economic and commerce trade, and just like the state of the political environment there, as an easy way for the U.S. Department of State to see the current state of those countries. And we would separate them into different provinces and what each province is good at and what it could offer. But we were supposed to tie in those websites through our we were supposed to make a web server, but the simple fact that we couldn't get our Active Directories working, which, should I explain Active Directories? It's like for most of you, when you guys are prompted to sign in at school, for example, like if you're in a high school, you have a certain tagline that you're supposed to put in, and then your ID. Essentially, that first tagline is called the Active Directory. That's what you report to, and your ID is practically the client ID. So that's essentially the Active Directory. It's just very jargony. But we were supposed to tie in the websites with our web server, but we weren't even able to make in login IDs for everybody, so we weren't able to make a web server. So shout out to Wix, even though we're not sponsored. That's essentially what we use to
make
design
these
our
websites.
websites.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It was very fun. It was very educational. Very stressful when the CEO didn't or project manager didn't take responsibility of project manager and you had to
Yeah.
step up.
And the way he made us present is when the final project was ready to be presented, he essentially would transform himself into a different individual.
The greatest man you've ever met. Let me tell you, bro.
Like
The
imagine like
myth, the man, the legend, Navi Sheldon.
Navi
Those
Sheldon. This
glasses. Those glasses is all I need in life.
he would literally turn into the most strict businessman ever. I remember the first meeting we had with him just to like go over with what he wanted, because essentially the first client server was he had a whole bunch of businesses that he wanted a network to be created so he could access and control remotely whatever. Um, and he walked in, and we were supposed to have a formal meeting with him, and we began the meeting, and he stopped us for he interrupted us actually, and he was like, hold on, where's my water?
Oh.
So he had a 16-year-old kid, 16, 17-year-old kid, like, is this guy
Which was
serious?
it was the project manager.
Yeah, the project. One of the project managers. I remember him. He looked so lost, and we were like, "There's plastic cups in the cupboard. Go get him some water." And this man comes back, gives him the water, and he's
We had
like,
a water fountain in our classroom.
"Yeah, you expect me to drink from a plastic cup? I want a bottle of water." And at that point, that's where I was like, "I don't know if this guy's serious or not."
No, no, no. The best part was when he gives them the water and he's like, "What is this?" And our project manager's like, "Oh, don't worry, sir. It's reverse osmosis." And he takes
What?
a sip.
What?
Navi Sheldon takes a sip of the cup, and then he's like, "I can taste the tap." We were
That's so
just
crazy.
the thing was we couldn't laugh because we were in
You had to be
the
serious.
yeah, we had to be serious. We were actually pitching this thing. Keep in mind, this wasn't our instructor. This was his alter ego, and
Which, to be
he
fair,
pissed it off.
I like to think that in a past life, because keep in mind, this man was also a jazz musician. I like
Yeah.
to
Oh
think that
yeah.
this man
His
was Navi
background, dude.
Sheldon in a past life.
His background was so crazy. He talked to us about, like, I don't want to name drop like what organizations he worked for, but he worked for some really heavy
Yeah, he
organizations.
worked for the government, man.
Yeah, he worked for a government at one point, and I don't know. I just it's fine. It makes me think about like what switch in your head has to flip for you to be earning like top dollar for what
It's
you're
all the
good at.
organic food he was eating, man.
He was vegan
What
as well.
he's making so much money. I could almost assume he's making so much money in this field that he's really good at. What makes him like say, you know what? I want to stop and I want to earn a teacher's salary.
To
Like
do this,
that moment.
to
That's
do
like some Snowden's type of stuff, you know? That's like when he realized, like, hey, this isn't what I want to do.
Well, if you think about it, it's wasted knowledge if he doesn't teach anybody all he knows.
yeah.
True.
He did
Like
it
you
to
could
teach
be
us.
rich and
He
yeah,
did it to
you could
teach
be
four
rich and
dumbasses.
die. You could be rich and die, and I feel like that wouldn't be satisfying to just have all those fortunes if you haven't passed down your own fortunes.
Makes me
You have
think
to
about
think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
makes me think about how much money he had saved up for him to be like, you know what? I'm financially good to go help out the world, and I'll still be like fine financially. That's
I,
what I assume.
I don't even think he was like that. I don't think this man was uh, I don't think he was I don't know the right word to think about. He didn't care about money. I don't think he cared about money. I think he legit wanted to plant a seed to have the to have the future kind of learn about technology, and that's exactly what he did with us. Because even what Diego mentioned, he planted a seed in all of us to pursue this.
Don't take it the wrong way.
Yeah, no, he did that, but I'm saying how it makes me think about how much money he was earning for him to be like, yeah, sure, he might have not been about the money, but he's like, hey, I'm earning this much. If I saved, or maybe if you already had it saved, I could quit this and honestly do what I'm truly passionate about, and I'll still be fine financially because you don't do that if you're dead broke. There's some people that do that, but
But
I
I
don't think he would.
remember him telling us his like basically his story growing up. I believe he had like 7 siblings, and out of
Yeah.
them, he was the only one only one who wanted college.
Yeah.
And I think he either he might have gotten lost in the sauce, or it was his entire intention the entire time to, obviously give himself a good upbringing and then pass those fruits down to his family. And then obviously work a little bit harder, but I think he wanted, especially in the area that we grew up with, a lot of the students that were there weren't exactly upper class. We're lucky even if they were middle class. So uh, poverty wasn't uh, something we didn't see in our area. He knew that, and I think he wanted to get kids out that were in the situation that he was when he was growing up, and somehow give them a helping hand too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
think I
say
agree with that.
absolutely. Like going back to what Caesar was saying, like, oh, like how do you go from working for the government and then like what clicks in your head to want to get a teacher's salary? I mean, it's like just reiterating what we've all been saying. He knew that he had this knowledge and he knew his roots, and he knows that there are plenty of other kids that have the same roots, if not worse, maybe a little bit better. So he wanted to, and like now that I think about it, going back to what we were saying, like even before, how you all say you don't regret taking it. I want to reiterate, I don't regret taking it. I just meant that I wish I had a like more of a love for it, but it did build memories, and we have to think about what we're doing here today. Like he did his job one way or another. Like we're all doing something that, like and I think this podcast here is an example of that, where even though yes his main focus was to um like teach us his knowledge of tech and networking, um at the end of the day he just wanted us to do something with ourselves, to not be lazy and to not just like sit around and wait for like a parent or an adult to hand us things. And that's something that he would always talk about. um I think in like 11th grade, before we
Okay.
took his main networking class, he would always say, when you're in college, we're not going to spoon feed you, we're not going to help you, we're not going to hold your hand, you're going to have to do things yourself. So that's one of those things where like that sticks to me, with me to this day. And I think he did his job, and even though we're all on different paths, we still like stuck together as friends. And like I mean we're doing this now, so he whether he gets paid the same from his previous jobs or not, he knows that he has a purpose, and his purpose is to just keep people moving forward.
Absolutely. And one thing that I was just thinking about later on, I think we should absolutely have him as a guest here, because I feel like we're kind of explaining his story, and I feel like he should explain it himself. I
Yeah,
feel.
of course.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I think he would be. I think it would make him happy, just knowing that we we all still chill together and we still talk about him, and I think it would make him very happy.
Let,
You know,
let's let's not forget, also, like even outside the classroom, he was still a character. Like we would be chilling on our benches, and he would just come along like, "Hey Diego, what's going on?" Or like, "Hey Caesar." He would still be such a bright character, and I've always
yeah.
appreciated that. Even at what? How old is he?
I I
He
He
don't
looks
was
like
up
he's
there,
know.
he
40.
was in his 60s.
He was up there, dude. He was over the hill, and he was
He
still
looks like he's in his 40s, man.
he
He
looks
looks
like in his 40s, but he's not
yeah.
40, and
He looks young.
and he had more energy than all of us. I thought that was
Yeah.
always amazing.
Yeah, I remember, when was it? It was, my brother is in his junior year now. Yeah, so it must have been in my second year of college when my brother joined high school. And we are going around like, oh, like, how they just take out all the career stuff and everything. And they're like,
Hmm.
oh, this is what you could do here. Or no, join the nursing program, join the pharmacy program. And just to plant seeds in all the kids. But Mr. Sheldon, he was there helping the kids, get in the line and everything. And he was there, and he wasn't looking in my direction, but I was practically like five people behind him, and obviously he wasn't looking towards me. He was looking at other people until I called his name, and he like it's almost. like when you tell a kid who hasn't seen you in a while, he like immediately recognizes the voice, and he stopped what he was doing. He was looking around, and I was like, oh, he still remembers me. So I called over to him, and he was just like, Joel, what's up, and everything. You know, he was just like, you know, he obviously he has so much that he has given us, and he knows that too. So I feel like he obviously has connected with us probably the most out of all his students. I can't speak for all his students, but I feel like what we did experience with him was very cool. And so when I was there, he really brightened up. And he was like, "Are you gonna make your brother join this program?" And I was like, "I don't know. That's his decision." But yeah, I agree, Pedro. He's very bright outside of even the classroom. He's just that way to everybody. That's how he is.
Yeah, and that's something I've always admired about him. Even on the days where he would bust our balls about looking at memes and doing anything else, I was like, you know what, he's still the coolest guy, the coolest teacher I know, at least. So like even to this day, I think he's not only the teacher that's helped me out the most. I think he's just all around my favorite teacher.
Yeah,
Oh
definitely
yeah.
the one that when I think of high school instructors, definitely the first one that comes to mind. All right. So would everyone agree that the vision would be a good title
I
for the podcast? I
so
love how like that escalated so quickly.
Yeah,
at this point, it should be the Navi podcast.
The
the
Navi
Navi Sheldon
podcast.
podcast.
Isn't Navi a
No,
character from
I
the
think I think we still have to sit on it.
By all means, anyone who's listening, send any of us a DM. Just say, hey, I think this would be a cool title. We know we're gonna get a bunch of people dicking around, but
that
any
that
any serious
honestly like
inquiries would be nice.
that was an hour of talking about like of Sheldon and what we experienced in that class, and
Bro, we
And we
could
could
we
we
could
could
keep
go on
going
for hours
longer.
that honestly didn't feel like an hour, man.
Yeah, if there's
because
one
we
story that made me laugh, someone earlier mentioned, all the fruits and like vegetables he would eat because he was I don't remember if it was vegetarian or vegan, but
He's a vegetarian.
Mhm.
vegetarian. And if
Yeah,
you guys remember, and this is something that I recall us like dying of laughter. We I want to say it was nationals. We're all
Yep, I
getting
know
food.
the story. I know the
Yeah,
story.
yeah, you know where I'm going with this. We're all at nationals. We're having a dinner, and it's like all of us meeting, like so, like other schools meeting and whatnot, and just holding a conference. But it's a nice dinner, and we're eating food, and the food is like less memorable, but it's what Sheldon was eating. It's his food, and ladies and gentlemen, think of an average plate that you eat at home and think about the food that you normally put. It's not going to fill up the whole plate. No, this man had a full plate of fruits and vegetables. Like whatever was in the salad bar, he made sure he made a mountain on that plate. And it was amazing. And not only that, but he finished it, devoured it. And after all of that, he still went back for seconds and he came back with another mountain of food. And it was impressive, I have to say. It's one of those things that, like, for whatever reason, out of, all of our trips and all of our, fun that we had, like going to amusement parks, I still remember that memory of him just like chowing down at a plate of lettuce. And it was legendary.
Well, yeah, you gotta imagine all that fruit is just like water, man. So he probably just that was probably nothing for him. That's probably like a little snack.
I've actually never seen this man because I do know the story. I remember that vaguely as well, Diego. But outside of that, I don't remember seeing him eat a full on meal.
Oh yeah, that was the only time like that I at least can recall him like actually eating anything that wasn't a snack or wasn't coffee or whatever. Or no, he didn't drink coffee, I don't think. But yeah, for sure
Caffeine.
like that. Yeah, the caffeine would probably like kill him or whatever. But I just remember like
he was
he and
always
and
just
and and
on
he,
edge. Coffee wouldn't be good for him.
and he was such a gentleman too when it came to eating at the dinner table. I mean, he had the napkin tucked into his shirt, and he had the knife in his left hand and the fork in his right, and he was going for it.
Man deserves it. He
Yeah,
deserves to have a meal.
that man is still to this day a living legend.
Yeah,
I
for
remember
sure.
him when we were at the hotel. I think we only had like a couple couple days left, and he wanted us. He wanted to invite us to go eat at this one like Thai place or Vietnamese place that he knew, and he would keep on. I remember this because he would just keep on repeating the crossroads. I don't know if you guys remember, but he said it's on Catella on Euclid.
Oh yeah.
Catella on Catella, and so it got so ingrained to me, Catella and Euclid, that when was it? Last year I went to California, and we were in me and my family were in Anaheim for a day because we went to California Adventure, and I was like, I have to pass through Catella and Euclid, and I did, and it's just like I don't know how it came of me that I was just like, let's go to Catella and Euclid, and my dad was like, what's Catella and Euclid? I'm like, it's just these streets over here. It's like I remember where they are, and it's. Do you guys remember it was in front of the CVS that where we want to go eat IHOP?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Euclid was the road that we walked from. We walked. What was it? We walked from Disneyland all the way down to our hotel room.
At the Sheridan.
Yeah, at the Sheridan. That's the one.
Wow.
Cause we went. Yeah. We walked like 2 or 3 miles.
We even took the bus.
Yeah, we took the bus temporarily, but it wasn't that much.
Yeah, the walking wasn't that much. Wow.
That was I still dream of recreating that entire vacation because it was what, a week of us just digging in California.
Hmm.
Deacon in California.
My
I
fun-
don't think it was a week. It was a couple days for sure, though.
It was like 4 days, 3 days.
But even then, we could have so many stories not even related to FBLA, just us being there.
I was gonna say, I love how we're gonna finish up with this, and we can literally make another full hour recording about just
I
what
was
we did
about
at
to say
Disneyland.
I was about
Yes,
to say
100%. Let's save that for the next topics. But for right now, big shout out to Sheldon.
that. Big man Sheldon.
Yeah,
Yo,
no first name for
I'm
sake
still
of
salty
security.
about that one lady who stopped the log ride and I busted my face.
Oh yeah, you were pulling in and
There,
bam.
remember?
He was getting off the ride and
I
then
was so mad because I couldn't drink anything citrusy for the rest of the trip. I was so mad.
was it when you were pulling up and then yeah, because she had the lever, right? The lever
Mhm.
to stop the actual.
No. It was the log ride in at Knott's Berry, and so you know how we had backpacks, and I tucked in the backpack all the way in the ride so it wouldn't get wet.
Yeah.
So I'm reaching for it, and like obviously like my chin is on the ride because I obviously with like the ride going downwards, gravity pushed it towards the very front of the ride, and so I'm reaching for it, and this lady just stomps on the log ride, and it just like I just smashed my lips onto the ride. Not my proudest moment.
But a legendary one at that.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Cost you your whole citrus intake.
Yeah, I mean, just with that one story, it's already coming back. Oh my goodness, just the utter insanity that I recall from Disneyland and Knott's Berry and just California in general. It was a good time.
It was an extremely
Yeah.
good time.
It was awesome.
The only thing that I constantly I feel in my heart was the terror that me and Diego had. For those of you viewing, me and Diego's over 6 feet. I'm just at 6 feet. We're pretty tall boys, and the rides at Knott's Berry, I swear they were going to decapitate us because we went through a wooden roller coaster, and the entire time our heads are down. We're fighting basically the laws of physics to keep our heads down because we did not want to get decapitated.
And it's one of those things where it's like, obviously, we know in the deep back of our minds that we're not going to get decapitated. But listen, when you're as tall as we are and you just see those logs like right above you and you think that they're right in front of your face, you have no choice but to duck. And granted, that ended up producing some amazing pictures. But yeah, it's just one of those, like, we look like we're like dry heaving over this roller coaster ride at like 0 G's. It's hilarious. But
And given it was an amazing ride, it was an absolutely amazing ride.
it
but
was so fun. Yeah.
we were pussies because we thought it was gonna be Final Destination.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure I nearly herniated a disc, but I think we were fine. Like it was a lot of fun nonetheless.
Absolutely. We'll continue on with the California stories on another day.
Yeah, but I think for today, that's been it. It was pretty fun, just reminiscing about our last year and who we spent it with, and California. So it's pretty dope. I think that's it. So thanks for listening, if anyone's listening, and hopefully this wasn't as boring as we all thought
Are
it was.
you out there?
All
You said if anyone's listening, it's like, can you hear us?
right, thanks. All right, see you later, guys.
Bye bye.